Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. My name is Max. I'm the CEO because Bitcoin, joined today by our CFO, Tucker, one of our top analysts, Louis T, and Snorlax will certainly be joining us. I think he was having some camera issues that he is trying to work out. So he will be here in just a moment. But guys, check week. Big week. Week size, big week, right? All the memes about the Barry Shilbert week size is here, guys. It's here. The week couldn't get much bigger. The stage couldn't be much more set than it currently is. You have Trump on one end, you have Kamala on the other end, the barbell of politics with a whole bunch of stuff in the middle. They are polar opposites from each other, guys. They are polar opposites. And we're going to talk about what's potentially going to happen this week. There's a lot of scenarios to discuss. For me, it really kind of comes down to three. Either Trump wins, Kamala wins, or we don't find out for about 2 or 3 weeks at least, right? And in my view, two of those three are short-term bearish, potentially even higher time frame bearish for markets. But really, expect boringness and then a lot of volatility. But we're going to talk about everything and more. I see we got Tommy with us now, but we're going to go over to Tucker right away. Tucker, you're charting MAGA USDT right now.
Of course.
How are you feeling about financial markets as we head into this big week?
Yeah. The week is huge, guys. The week is huge. We talked about your scenarios the other day, Max, but 1, 2, and 3, I agree, right? Like 2 out of those 3 are not great for markets. You've seen Bitcoin and especially altcoins trading pretty much directly in line with political odds. As Tommy, our in-house GCR, accurately predicted, Kamala's odds have risen into, like, as we got closer to the election and especially over the weekend, right? And we saw markets dump, right? Like, just, we'll go back to Bitcoin real quick. We'll get to MAGA in a second, but we saw markets come down as her odds rose, right? So that's telling me that the market would not enjoy a Kamala victory. Political biases aside, right? Social issues aside, solely data, solely markets, solely green candles related. Okay. I don't think markets would like a Kamala victory. It's just the data, right? Now I see that Trump is back at 60% on Polymarket right now. Haven't seen much of a bounce. Haven't seen much. Well, I guess they're trying a little bit here, but I think I'm kind of in agreement with Tommy. I think they spike her odds into the election, and then you get a clean Trump win, no 2 week, uncertainty, which would also be terrible, by the way. And that's it. And our altcoins gig ascend, and we ride off into Valhalla. That's really my base case. But if that doesn't happen, if anything but that happens, then it's going to look a little bit grim for your altcoins in the short term. Again, I don't think Bitcoin is going to be terribly affected. I think it would come down a little bit if she won, but I think altcoin liquidity would probably there would be some kind of altcoin genocide in the short term, is what I'm trying to say.
So let me ask you this. Let's like zoom out a little bit. You don't need to zoom out on the chart, but I want you to pull your perspective back a little bit and zoom it out. So you obviously know this, but I'm gonna frame it just in case some people in the audience don't. Historically speaking, it does not matter whether you have a Democrat or a Republican in office. You rally for about a year following a U.S. presidential election, whether it's a Democrat, whether it's a Republican, whether it's a new president, whether it's the existing president getting reelected. Historically speaking, there's really not that much to suggest that it really matters that much over a long-term period of time. Tucker, short term, there's kind of 3 scenarios, right? A, Trump wins, you think we get a face ripper. B, Kamala wins, altcoins get repriced at the downside, volatility incoming. Or C, we don't find out, it's uncertain, Polymarket's going crazy, everything's whipsawing, probably repriced to the downside out of fear, right? But 3 to 6 months out, do you think it matters if Trump wins or Kamala wins? And what would it look like? Would it be different?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think it matters. I'm kind of on the same, like Tommy's talked about this on here. Like, I think, we would have a bull market either way, but their presidencies would slightly. I think for altcoins, right, it would be slightly altered, right? Like Tommy, you've talked about, like, altcoins probably have lower ceilings, less liquidity in the market, right? I don't know, Bitcoin goes up either way, but 3 to 6 months, I'd say if you have Trump, you probably rip in the short term. You probably blow off into the end of the year, have some kind of correction, and then, have a longer bull market with a higher ceiling. With Kamala, I would worry into next year, which, probably gets a little more political than we need to be on the show, but I would worry about the longevity of a bull market under her, I
So you
guess.
think he could maybe be a little bit more muted with Kamala versus Trump?
Mhm.
Because Trump's been whether it's just for votes or not, we can all agree that Trump has been overwhelmingly like bullish, do your thing, like crypto innovation forefront, your Bitcoin will be made here in America, like whatever.
Best.
And the Democrats for the past 4 years have kind of had their teeth in crypto. It's not subjective, right? I think we can all look at that whether you're red or blue and just be like, yeah, current administration's been tough on crypto, and we have this new guy, well, old guy slash new guy, who's like, yeah, I'm gonna like get rid of income tax for Americans, and like I'm speaking at the Bitcoin conference, and like I'm starting a
Mhm.
DeFi platform. It's pretty different, right? And I imagine that if he does get elected, I feel as though we might actually have like a multi-year super cycle that we wouldn't have with the
We
current
will.
administration. And that doesn't mean you should go and be a single issue voter and be like, I'm going to ignore everything else that's important to weigh, my vote and my voting decision on because I want to be rich, right? There are things more important than money. But objectively speaking, we're here to talk about how financial markets would potentially react to either candidate. So I want to hear from the in-house GCR because Tommy, I don't know, some of you guys are in the Discord, some of you are not. And by the way, I don't know what's going on today. Maybe you guys are like allergic to the like button, but something's
Mm.
going on today. Like I can't believe how low the likes are already for such a big week. But Tommy called the Kamala Harris Polymarket mean reversion. Okay. Trump was at like 65%, maybe even higher. Kamala was in the mid 30s for probabilities of winning like 10 days ago. And Tommy said, this is going to change and it's going to change quickly. Tommy, just like walk us through like why did you think that and how are you I don't even need to repeat it, right? Everything I asked Tucker, like give me your short-term what ifs and then long-term what ifs. And then also, can you just talk about why and I guess how you've been so on top of the poly market odds so far?
I mean, for starters, like last week, I think you have to understand that for months, like Polymarket odds, but really, I mean, people look at Polymarket odds and they're like, well, there's just degenerate gamblers behind that. I think it's more election odds in general, right? An aggregation of political betting sites has been trading very correlated with financial markets for months now. The correlation is not exact, right? So like tops and bottoms can vary by a few days, but if you go back and forth and you back test the odds of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris at each high and low, at least for Bitcoin that we've been putting in, it's pretty obvious. When we get to one side of the range, we've been having a candidate's odds top out. When we get to the other, we're having the other candidate top out. So that was kind of in the back of my mind last week. There was kind of some political commentary that made me feel as though it could continue to tighten up, as well as the fact that when you were to look at things like altcoin charts, they looked a little bit spent, made me kind of think, well, we've typically been seeing alts do really well when Donald Trump's odds tend to top out. So kind of that, along with the fact that, you just looked at some of the charts for individual swing states on Polymarket. They were beginning to, I think, paint the picture that Kamala Harris's odds were probably going to rise into the weekend. And I think they're going to rise into Tuesday night. Quite honestly, I think going into the election, she will probably be viewed as the betting favorite. That's kind of what I believe is going to happen, just based on not just the like political landscape, but also the charts, right? Like things like altcoins and Bitcoin are kind of painting the picture that if Kamala Harris's odds are shooting up and Donald Trump's are shooting down in the near term, kind of makes me feel like maybe we get a USD repricing kind of akin to that. So we'll watch that, right? But I do think that's possible. The winner, right? I obviously posted my whole thesis in the Discord. I think the winner will differ from who I think is going to be the betting favorite. But here's what I'll say about outcomes. And it's what I said last week. The market has been betting on and anticipating one outcome for months now, which means everybody is positioned in the same way, which, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It just represents a very high skew to one direction. It's only if an outcome occurs that the market's not prepared for that you have that short-term positional unwind that you kind of have to be a little bit more concerned of. And Max, you outlined 3 scenarios. I agree. Like the first scenario, Donald Trump wins running away on Tuesday. You probably see the market immediately rip. People continue to bid risk. Bitcoin, especially given how structurally better it looks than altcoins, will do the best. Scenario 2, Kamala Harris wins tomorrow. I think you get a big surprise move to the downside because people are simply not positioned for it. High time frame spending for the government is not going anywhere. I think we can debate the time frame it would take to recover something like that, but ultimately the high time frame thematic of government spending isn't going anywhere. And then of course you have the third scenario, which I personally think is the most likely one, which is that we don't know on Tuesday night. We're probably going to have to wait like another week, maybe 2, before we find out who wins the election. But here's what I'll say about implications. And I do tend to agree with what Tucker said about altcoins probably having a little bit more of a muted bull market. I mean, look, it's objective reality that the current admin has tried to actively debank crypto. They made this very clear last March when they let Silvergate or Silverbank, I'm not quite sure which one, when they let it fail. And liquidity in crypto, native liquidity, we haven't quite had the same inflows of liquidity that we've had in the past, largely because of this, right? Like Silverbank, Silvergate, I don't know which one it was one of the primary sources to get like wealth management and fund capital into crypto. And there's been a pretty, like, as we can see, altcoins have still not made an all-time highs on things like Total 2, Total 3, whereas you have things like Bitcoin that has already traded at an all-time high because it's benefited from ETF liquidity and volume. So I do think for altcoins, it really matters that you have an administration that's not actively fighting to debank it or effectively kind of hurt the liquidity that's within the native ecosystem. So that's what I would have to say about implications and really everything else. I hope I covered everything, but it was so long.
That was great, Tommy. I want to ask you, do you think that there's any bit of this that people that are exposed to risk assets right now, they view Trump as the favorite, but they're actually bidding Kamala as a hedge? Could that be part of the repricing, or do you think it's something else?
I could see that. The thing that's difficult about hedging with a bet like that is that, I mean, liquidity is obviously not that great. So if you're trying to hedge a position out in size, it's going to be very capital intensive, right? So say you have $1 million, you want to hedge Kamala Harris. How much would you have to buy to hedge out like $1 million worth of exposure? It'd probably be at least like $500,000, $800,000 to get that 1-for-1 hedge on. So I don't know if people are using it to hedge, but I do think people are recognizing that based on the way that certain states are probably beginning to pull, it's very much a toss-up election. I do feel astrologically inclined to bet on one candidate over another,
Yes,
but
Plutonic, baby.
Other than that, I think it's very much a toss-up into election day.
All right, Louis, I don't need to ask all the questions again. Hit me with it. How are you viewing locally and then high time frame all the different scenarios for the next half of a week plus in regards to the election and financial markets?
Well, first of all, I'm tired. I'm tired of this.
I'm tired, Grandpa.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I want this over with and done with so we could just move on with our lives. I am taking, listen, the next couple days, the next week, however long it takes for the election to decide a winner, I think is going to be a lot of noise and a lot of wonky price action. Which honestly, for guys like us, for analysts, it makes our job difficult, right? It's like in times like these, you could have the best TA setup, the best demand, the best trend lines, whatever you want to do, and you're going to get knee-jerk reactions one way or the other, depending on these isolated events, which is this election. I am slightly differentiated, I guess you could say, with Tommy on the view that I don't think that the last couple months of Bitcoin's price action has been to do with the fact that Trump was a favored winner. I just don't see that as, I mean, I guess in hindsight, you can look back and say, oh, yeah. But I mean, if you look back at every single Bitcoin cycle, this is kind of what we've, seen with Bitcoin, right? You enter Q4, you start your, you're leading into and leaving the election. Bitcoin, has historically gone up, right? Especially after a 6 to 7th month consolidation, we were due to start heading higher after testing, our range lows for, the 4th time. If you want to say the last 2 weeks of price action, that big pump up where we ran up back to 73K, and then now that retrace we're seeing. If you want to say that local price action has to do with election odds, sure, that makes sense. Those are short-term entrants looking to catch a ride, and those people are obviously getting hurt here, right? If you try to play the breakout over the last week or two. But just, I'm not saying Tommy's saying this, but I'm seeing a lot of this narrative where, oh, the Bitcoin's only gone up for the past 2 months because Trump was the favor. So if Trump loses, then Bitcoin is screwed. I don't think that's the case. I just think this is what natural price action we've always seen out of Bitcoin around this time period. So short term, yes, local volatility will be in effect until further notice, until we get that clear winner. But similar to Tommy, I think long term, it's bullish, right? I think, we're seeing the Russell having a decent day so far today, up around 1%. So that's a good sign. Historically, we see the Russell start to pump around this time of the cycle, end of October, early November. That's when it gapped up and started to break out last election cycle. So I'm in the camp where, yes, maybe locally we'll see some volatility. However, I think price is just doing what it normally does. And yeah, locally you'll see some knee-jerk price reaction in either direction. But I think, hopefully this election gets resolved sooner rather than later. I have a funny feeling that it's not going to be the case unless they're trying to prove a point where, bring faith back into the election process where we do have a swift and decisive winner. But other than that, I'm just expecting, a lot of local volatility over the next week or two. And then we could pick up the pieces and move on from there. But I mean, positioning wise, maybe, clean up a little of the portfolio, maybe cut some weaker performing altcoins, maybe hedge into cash or maybe hedge into Bitcoin. But other than that, I mean, just we got to wait for a winner here and go from there. But I think it's honestly business as usual for Bitcoin and assets.
Dude, do you guys see what happened to the IWM the last time Trump won? I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
You kind of got to throw out 2020 because COVID happened and they, injected a bunch of money and whatnot. But to go back to 2016 with the same candidate, like that seems like a decent extrapolation. And
but it also gapped up on a Biden win. That's why I'm kind of saying, like, I really don't think,
no, but COVID.
Yeah, that was way before the election.
That was why we went straight up in a straight line, though.
Yeah, okay. I guess you could say that. But it was bull chop, and then you got the election result, and then it gapped up, and then really went vertical. So
I mean, let's even go back one more though. Let's go back to 12.
Yeah, November of 2012.
November of 2012. I mean, or is October? It was the bottom. It dumped IW and dumped into the election and then just ripped out of it. It wasn't as violent. See, like this was the Trump win. Was this candle, this monster candle, right? So that was violent. If a Democrat wins, I think you still go up over months, but it's not as violent of a repricing. But
Just a side note, have you guys seen how much Elon Musk has been tweeting today? I think that man, there's not a man out there more nervous than Elon Musk because he's straight up going to jail if Trump doesn't win. He's going to jail. Tesla's going to go to zero.
yeah,
Go to zero. That he will not launch another rocket if Trump doesn't win. I'm telling you right now. Oh man, he is panic tweeting right now. I don't blame him either. Like he is public enemy number one for the Democrats right now. I find it very entertaining.
Bro, is this real, Tommy?
Yeah, I was just looking to see if that was real. I don't know if Kobe actually did tweet the exact same thing, but apparently GCR did tweet like 20, 30 minutes ago telling people to go vote. But like right before that, Kobe tweeted apparently the exact same thing. So
he deleted it.
I don't know if the Kobe part is real. He obviously deleted it if that's the case, but
exposed.
Tommy, you think Vivek is GCR, right?
I think that's the most entertaining outcome. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Kobe were actually GCR. But it wouldn't shock me.
What's the lowest we think Bitcoin goes on a Kamala win? If we are expecting downside.
Oh boy, Tommy just did the eye thing, man. He just did
he's looking at price. Check price.
The lowest.
Don't talk about ETH. He didn't ask about it.
Yeah, I'm not asking about
it. It was funny. That was the first chart I looked at. When,
of course it was, Tommy.
You know that meme of the guy who's like screaming and the tornadoes behind him, and he's like, "Here it comes." That's Tommy, but it's like with ETH FUD.
Wait, no, Kobe is GCR. It's confirmed, man. I see the tweet. He tweeted the exact same thing.
He screwed himself.
He's GCR. Wow. That's wild.
I'm not gonna lie. I had some suspicions, but
I mean, it's confirmed, bro. Like that is. I'm looking at it right now.
Why post it again? Like that was like
he screwed up. He meant to post it on GCR, and
I know. But then if you're gonna do that, just don't repost it. Like you're already screwed up. Like don't go and post it on the other account.
Wait, where? I'm not seeing it. Where did he post this? Did he tweet it?
No, he deleted it. If you just type in Kobe GCR, and you'll see people screenshotted his tweet before he deleted it. Damn, bro. We just figured out who GCR was live on stream. Study this stream, bro. Oh my goodness.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't even know who GCR was until this. Like,
oh my gosh.
Real, bro.
That's kind of unreal, though. I like that. Kobe's a good GCR, man.
Yeah,
people like Kobe. That. Yeah.
No, Tyrell doesn't believe it, man. He thinks he's messing with us. How is that possible?
I heard that GCR was Israeli from somebody. They heard his voice on like a Discord call a long time ago, but maybe it's just a rumor.
That could be altered.
Is Kobe Israeli?
I have nothing to differentiate it with other than I heard people saying that like someone was on a Discord call. I don't know, but
Kobe's British and he owns like a yard of ETH, or it was a yard, probably not anymore.
What's a yard?
A billion.
Really?
Dude, Kobe is
no, that's a term.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think he did that on accident. I feel like Kobe was trying to tell everybody. He was trying to out himself on it.
Yeah.
He was tired.
He knew people would see it. He's too big. Like he knew everybody would see it.
Of course he knew everybody would see it.
Hey, I'm not going to hate on a GCR tweet on a Monday morning.
Tommy's froze. Oh, wait. There you go. You're good.
Oh, no.
All right, Tommy.
Yeah, wait. I got to bring something up here.
Huh.
XRP and Doge look good today. What do we make of that?
I think XRP could be a nice little hedge here.
A hedge? How so?
Well, I don't know. You saw Chris Larson donating XRP to Kamala, right? So maybe that's some sort of hedge.
Bearish.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
bearish.
that's the only thing I could think. But,
That is a
but I
bearish
mean, they
donation, but yeah.
donated to both sides, so I think they were hedging themselves. But as long as along with the fact that, yes, I mean, if she does stay in and she received a donation via XRP, maybe that's one she will pass through as one that they allow to thrive.
Damn,
But yeah, I know
that level. Jack is one of that 48-cent level.
Yeah,
you got it.
How about Doge, guys? Because Doge has been trading as the best Bitcoin beta for the past month, and I think it has to do with Elon's involvement with this Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE) that he's going to be, I assume, spearheading if Trump wins. What do we view this as sort of a I mean, if you were to overlay the Polymarket odds with the Doge chart, you'd see that, Polymarket odds for Trump goes up, Doge rips. Kamala starts getting priced in, a few days ago as more likely to win. Doge dips, and today we're seeing kind of a bounce back for Trump at 60% now.
Okay.
I feel like, honestly, the best Trump victory play in crypto is going to be a short-term pop on Doge. Honestly.
I agree. But I have a question now, right? So let's say we see the odds swing back in Trump's favor, but Bitcoin continues to bleed into the election. Does that nullify the thesis that Bitcoin was pumping due to the odds, or what then?
So they're not correlated to the date. They're more kind of correlated on the basis of think about a 3-day or a weekly candle. Usually that's kind of the difference between the tops and the bottoms on the odds and their correlation with the market. And it's kind of, I mean, it's really more or less been happening since the beginning of 2022 when Trump decided to run for re-election again, right? Because I believe his odds originally started around 10% at the end of 2022. And as they've been climbing, it's been pretty heavily correlated with the market, specifically the NASDAQ rising. So I want to highlight the correlation, not to single out hey, today we're going to see this price action because it did that, right. And I think it's more so we get to these levels per se, and they're kind of intrinsically tethered to positioning because the market is betting on one outcome. So I think that's more what should be paying attention to. If Trump's odds reverse into the election, it's probably a sign that Tuesday night's going to be a big win for conservatives. And I think if that's the case, the market will likely continue to pump in the weeks that follow after the election. But that my personal opinion is just that the odds are probably going to tighten a little bit here over the next 2 days, and it will probably take a week or two before we know the winner.
That would be bad, Tommy. That would be bad.
I don't want that to happen because that's just more crap volatile price action that literally helps nobody. But I mean, if it's anything like we've seen in the past, I could just see this becoming a shit show. Or like I said, maybe they surprise everyone, just give a concise and clear winner the night of, and maybe it's at this point it's worth just to bring some faith back to the voting system in general, versus trying one side to win over the other, because having that helps both sides at the end of the day. Because if neither side trusts the voting process, then both sides are screwed, because anytime anyone wins, it's going to be a shit show, right? So if they just come out with a clear, concise winner, I think that's best for both sides regardless.
Well, they had 4 years to fix it, and I don't think that they did. So I feel like this is really going to put a magnifying glass on that uncertainty, which is a big reason why I'm such a bull on Bitcoin dominance this week and probably the next few weeks, right? Not only does Bitcoin, in my opinion, look the strongest structurally of any asset in crypto right now, but altcoins hate uncertainty. And one of the outcomes is particularly bad for altcoins in the near term. So there aren't really that many scenarios where I see Bitcoin dominance going lower this week. I really think that's the best trade this week. Of obviously not financial advice, is just betting on Bitcoin dominance probably continuing higher.
Yeah. Well, maybe the election could the result could be, that blow off top scenario that we're looking for. But yeah, no, I would agree. I was having these thoughts over the weekend. I was just walking around, having a nice day with the family. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? If there's ever a time where, like, we should be hedged, like with Bitcoin versus altcoins, you're seeing that you saw that over the weekend. Like, Bitcoin dumped a little bit and then alts just took a beating. So I think it's worth to maybe, if you can handle the volatility, right? If you know it's going to be volatile and like we could look back in 2 or 3 weeks and like, none of this price action mattered, then it's fine. But if you're not able to handle that volatility, Bitcoin might be, a good hedge against that until after the election results.
I think we're all in the camp that Bitcoin dominance goes higher here, regardless of outcomes, because if we look at it, if we just ignore the election cyclically, Bitcoin typically leads the market into price discovery, one way or another, candidates aside, right? Like look at late 2020, that spike on Bitcoin dominance before it went down only. That was really, really bullish conditions for the market. Like Bitcoin was chatting from like 20 to 40K. Bitcoin dominance ripped from like what? Upper 50s to like low 70s in a short period of time. And then we had alt season. So I feel like at this point, you kind of have to assume that Trump wins, Bitcoin dominance goes up, Bitcoin breaks out. Kamala wins, alt sell off, Bitcoin dominance goes higher, and then, bull run probably happens in a more muted fashion later. High time frame doesn't really matter. But I feel like you have to assume Bitcoin over the next few weeks, regardless of political outcomes, Bitcoin dominance goes higher.
Yeah, there's really no way around it. It's just, what happens to altcoins after the Bitcoin dominance spike, right? That's really all we care about. These odds on Polymarket are just moving crazy right now. If you guys are watching it, it's actually wild.
You have to assume there's a lot of profit taking going on,
Yes.
because some people bought Trump at sub 50%. Why would you not lock in partial profits, in the 60s? That's a nice win. So
yeah, like he went to 61 this morning and then he dropped to 56 and now he's sitting at 58. I mean, those are not small swings on Polymarket. It's just going to be wild going into tomorrow. I don't know how much signal there's going to be going into tomorrow,
I think there's negative signal and hyperfixating on the Polymarket odds right now. I think it's just going to be a disaster. Like I feel like realistically the odds are probably somewhere between like Trump in the high 50s, low 60s and Kamala, whatever's left. And it's just nobody knows. And you just kind of have to wait and see.
Here's a scenario I could absolutely see happen is you see there could be some, like, election odds have been very momentum driven this cycle. I could foresee a scenario where one side, obviously I think bettors for both sides at this point are up a decent chunk on their positioning. If one side just starts to aggressively take profits, does it start to cause a little bit of a panic that's not really like attuned with reality, right? But we see these huge swings in odds that causes a bit of a panic. I don't know. Maybe that's something that I think it's probably more likely to happen on the Trump side. You get a lot of profit taking because people probably bought Trump shares at like 30 to 40 cents on the dollar. They're up, 50 to 100%. Do they start taking profit? And is that kind of, taken out of context into meaning the odds themselves? It's like you said, Max, I think there's going to be a lot of noise over the next 2 or 3 days. And it makes tomorrow night, I think that much more interesting, quite frankly, because we have, this is something I was thinking about last week. Like we have election odds that predict it was always a thing, but they've never been as pronounced as the current, political cycle. So we really don't know the long-term effects that that's going to have on the election.
Yeah, no, we don't. What because if you look at certain alt BTC pairs, right, like not the greatest looking chart, right? A lot of these alt BTC, yeah, it looks terrible. It looks terrible. It's like, what, this is This is where I would draw this. Right. So I think if you get a Trump win, you don't necessarily need to make that move, right? But any other outcome, you're probably getting this green box on Pepe Bitcoin.
But then see, do me a favor and type in Doge Bitcoin and look at how it's trading. I mean, that paints a much different picture.
Mm-hmm. I
Which
mean, it
is,
could be
of
Elon
course,
related.
Doge. I think Elon related for sure, but also Doge being, I mean, at its core, it's Bitcoin beta, right? It's a fork of Litecoin, which is a fork of Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin's grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, even though there's all these new meme coins that I'm much more bullish on than Doge, it's like, you know, Doge is like the most normie friendly meme coin of all time, and Elon has now thrown himself into the political arena. And you have this proof of work network that is older than ETH. It's safe, and it's kind of an Elon Trump beta play and a Bitcoin beta play. So if we think Bitcoin dominance is going to break out, and if Trump wins, I think you're going to see Doge like literally triple in like 2 weeks, you know? So I mean, it's just painting a different picture. This is like the only altcoin where I'm like, I feel really confident in saying that, like, if Bitcoin is going to move higher after the election results this week, Doge is going to be the winner for the next couple weeks.
I agree. I kind of think that you could be in a scenario where Doge leads the meme coin market higher at that point. And imagine a scenario where that wealth effect occurs on Doge that we've been talking about for majors, where Doge maybe pumps into the end of the year. Maybe it's like early Q1, and then the back half of the year, you have the other large cap meme coins that start to catch a bid, largely because Doge kind of reinvigorated that retail interest in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the chart. I mean, Doge did almost the same thing in 2020, right? End of October, early November, Doge started basically its route. It's basically move off the lows that basically triggered its massive price appreciation in 2020.
Yeah, but you're somewhat seeing like here was the election, right? You know, Doge dumped into the election, and now it's pumping into it. So it's slightly front running potentially, but
I think
obviously
that's
if you
because of
ripped
the Elon
after,
effect, though.
it
I
could
think if
be.
Elon was on the sidelines, you'd see Doge behaving like every other altcoin. But
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
another sort of variable at play right now.
you
It
definitely
looks
got
like,
this move, right? Like you got this move down, but
as far as the USD price goes, Wednesday, November 4th marked the low for Doge last cycle. So basically, after the election, it started its rally to all-time highs. USD, not Doge Bitcoin.
yeah. Let's look
So
at
I
you.
mean, as far looking at it that way, it's just doing what it's always done, and that kind of goes back. And I'm not saying this election is not going to affect our coins and Bitcoin and whatever, but I mean, realistically, it's just think Bitcoin and altcoins are just doing what they've always done, right? I mean, it's kind of business as usual, and I feel like it's kind of like human nature to try to find a reason why things happen the way they do, when realistically it's just going to do what it's going to do, right? I don't know. That's just how I like to look at it, and that's how it works for me. But I mean, locally, of course, you're going to see volatility, but as far as history and the way things have traded over the past 8 to 10, 12 years, like, it's just business as usual.
I just can't ignore this chart either. Not that we should be bragging about something outperforming ETH, because
Yeah.
I mean everything is, but
Mhm.
Tommy Smiles somewhere in Colorado.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a really bullish looking chart, right? This is a really, really this is Doge ETH right here, right? This is Doge ETH. And you could probably draw it like this. I mean, just like textbook breakout, retest into demand, market structure break to the upside. I'm gaining the most signal out of Doge right now. I really am. Bitcoin beta, Elon beta, election beta. I mean, it looks good, guys. It looks good. And this is telling me that Bitcoin's going to move up, right? But I don't know. I mean, it can change really, really quickly, It can change really quickly. And like, here's Doge Bitcoin. You know, it's like similar thing, right? You can kind of look at it like this. You know, like it just looks so damn bottomed out. You know, it looks so bottomed out. And if we look at something like, you know, if we want to talk about Doge, like Tommy said, leading the market higher, leading the meme coins higher. Here's Pepe Doge earlier this year. I'm just going to leave my drawings on there. And then we're going to put up Pepe down below. I mean, you can see here that, you know, right before we saw Pepe go on its monster run, which, you know, arguably happened, you know, like over here, you saw, you know, Pepe bleed aggressively down here against Doge. And then it kind of kicked off this new like meme super cycle that we're in. Right. So you saw Doge once again outperforming the king meme of this cycle being Pepe. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. Like if Trump wins, Doge is going to double. Right. This was the plan that I had drawn out, you know, I don't know, a week ago, where I was like, look, I think that if Trump wins, you're going to see this pair capitulate. Like it probably even goes lower than this. You know, like you probably see it come back down into here. You know, Pepe Doge, and then you get that rotation into more meme beta, like the Pepes, then the Andes, then the Wolves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Doge is just going to continue to lead this market for the short term. I'll put you back up, Tucker.
Wouldn't it be fitting for Doge to like reinvigorate that crypto interest, right? I mean, we think back. How many people do you know that are probably still? I mean, maybe bag holding Doge. I don't want to harp on too much like a wealth effect from people who have just kind of been like passively holding Doge all these years. But I think when a lot of people think about the 2021 crypto bubble, they're going to think about.
Yo, Ryan. Whoops, sorry, Tommy. Ryan, one more and you're gone. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, no, just.
I think realistically,
I would if I could.
When people think about the bull market cycle in 2021, they're probably only going to think about, like, if you were to ask a normie, what assets do you know about from the crypto bubble in 2021? They're probably going to tell you like three things. The first one of them is almost always going to be Doge. They're probably going to talk about Bitcoin to some extent, and then the third one is probably going to be an NFT, likely a Bored Ape or something ridiculous like that. But it's like one of the most recognizable tickers, not just from crypto historically speaking, but also in the last bull market cycle that had so much retail driven flow. And I think when we talk about bringing in native liquidity, what brought in more native liquidity in 2020? It was that first move off the low that Doge made, that kind of made people like, yeah, we had DeFi summer and all that other great stuff, but Doge running on especially on Robinhood. I remember people who I know still haven't even touched crypto. They were talking about Doge hitting 1 cent. Like, hey, we should buy some Doge. I think it's that similar effect. You just got to keep putting crypto in the view of people who could potentially buy it. And I know that retail may or may not add up, but it's about momentum. And I think if you have assets that are ripping in crypto, you kind of force allocation once again to not just winning assets, but really anything in crypto, because people aren't going to want to miss the boat.
I totally agree.
Do you guys see these fibs?
Yeah.
I
mean, bro, Doge is going to $1. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Doge is going to $1. I don't know what the time frame is exactly, and I don't think it's right after the election. Here's what I will say on Doge though. Like if Trump wins and it's a clean sweep, and we find out this week that he's got 300 plus electoral votes or damn near, and it's a clear Trump victory, no delays, Kamala concedes, whatever. I think you're going to see Doge over 50 cents like quick, like real quick. And then I think you see a lot of that flow back into other altcoins, more like Pepe, maybe some whiff, like the large cap memes that have been leading the cycle. And by the end of the cycle, you will see Doge over $1. I don't think you can fight fate with it. I think Doge is making a new all-time high.
I agree. No, I agree with the timing too, Max. I think if that's the scenario that ends up playing out, you probably see Doge above 50 cents in like early Q1.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what he did last time.
And then I will full stack Jeet my Doge into Pepe and Andy and Wolf. And I will just go even further down the beta train.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. You have to.
Daddy's gonna lead. Doge is still daddy.
Doge is Bitcoin for memes, guys. Like maybe we should. What's the Doge dominant? Is there alpha and Doge?
Yes, bro. That's why I bought more
memes?
Doge recently. Was not just because of the election and all this stuff. Tucker, pull up Doge dominance and put it in log, bro.
Doge
it just broke out.
Eh?
It just broke out of like a 3-year compression.
Daddy Doge.
Like that, there's more signal in Doge dominance than there is any of the pairs or the USD valuations. There's a tremendous amount of signal in this chart. Can you imagine what this chart's going to look like if Trump clean sweeps the election?
Oh my God.
You're going to go to 2%, bro. You're going to go to 2%. Quick, really quick.
Yep.
Yeah, it would get crazy.
And that's healthy. And that's healthy, right? Like same way we see Bitcoin lead, drag up alts, and then you see the capital rotating into altcoins. I've talked about this before. That's a healthy market. Bitcoin, the market leader, goes first. People rotate profits from Bitcoin into the lower cap, beta altcoins, right? And same thing, it works the same. It would, in theory, should work the same way for altcoins, like Doge being the leading, oldest, and like highest market share meme coin running first, around the time it normally does, as it did last cycle. And then, after that big blow off run up, then you start to see that liquidity flow into the more speculative memes. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I remember distinctly too that after Doge, the trade shifted distinctly, right? Like the liquidity was a little bit less prevalent in the sense that you could just throw money at anything and it would go up. But the trade at that point shifted away from memes and into
fundamentals.
Their ones.
Because dude, Doge peaked like at the first Bitcoin top at 64K. And then you saw the crazy Solana run up where it basically 10x'd on that move from 30K to 69K.
Yeah.
So I think you're potentially going to see the same thing again, where memes will dominate the next quarter and a half for crypto, assuming Trump does win or something like that. And then I think you're probably going to see all these new L1s finally catch a bid, right?
But what if the new layer ones are just more memes?
Then yeah, then it's
right. Like what if
oh,
you're kind of cutting out, Tommy. Oh no.
Yeah, I can see. I just rugged a little bit there, but no, I mean, you remember we were talking about this. It's like people don't want to be holding things like ETH and AVAX, and Sol is kind of different, so I won't factor it in the same way. But like taking profits into large cap meme coins. What if the rotation is like Doge, large cap meme coins, and then you go into fundamental assets only after we've probably hit we've taken memes as far as they can possibly go. There has to be some distribution into something more productive.
But Tommy, what if we never go into fundamental assets?
We don't have to. I mean, we don't have to. I don't know if I think we'll never go back into fundamental assets or if it's just like on a more delayed time frame. But I think, and we were talking about this yesterday, is like, why would there be any shift away from Bitcoin and memes as long as you have two things occurring where Bitcoin dominance is going straight up in a straight line and meme coins are still making up such a small relative market share of the entire crypto space? Like, why do these two things that are probably both very underpriced on a high time frame have to revert back into other assets? I don't know.
This is what I would like to show you. I'm pretty sure this is just what you were suggesting, Tommy. Maybe it's not into L1s like Sol or anything like that, but
it could be. It could be.
Bitcoin down below, Sol right up here, and then Doge up top. So you can see that Doge topped right here. So top number one, this was the first top for Bitcoin last cycle. So first top right here. So Bitcoin puts in its first top. And at this point, you know, Sol was $40 and it corrected down to 20, right? Doge went to almost $1. But then when Bitcoin rallied out of that summer low up to 69K in November of 2021, you can see that Doge at that point, from its high to where Bitcoin basically had its all-time high, was still down 60% at that exact moment. Sol during that same period was up 531%. And of course, Bitcoin kind of just swept the previous high, right? So you can see the rotation that happened from that wealth effect that was created from things like Doge, right? They took, you know, heavy meme coin profits early, sell in May, go away. They sold their Doge. They bought the summer lows on fundamentals, and then they ran it back in things, you know, like Sol or BNB, or, you know, there are plenty of other ones, right? But I think, Tommy, this is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Memes go first. It has been written.
It's exactly what happened in 2020. I mean, I don't know, like maybe there is some other causation for the timing, but I personally think you have meme coins and probably Bitcoin that get people interested in crypto, and then they start caring about the tech again. That's just kind of like the natural order of operations.
And here's the election right here. And here's the election right here.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting. It would be very, very interesting. Let's go back one more here. What would have been a solid L1 that would have bid 2 cycles ago?
ETH.
Yeah,
I said solid, Louis.
It was solid back then. XRP.
Right, let's throw up ETH.
It was.
Yeah, it didn't have that same effect last cycle.
Try XRP.
2 cycles ago.
Well, actually, XRP was like last to run in 2017.
Well, that might be exactly what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Is a fundamental play that ran later in the cycle after. So here's XRP, Doge. Here, I can get rid of all this stuff right here. Doge, XRP, Bitcoin. This was kind of like a weird double peak though for Doge, right? But you can see nonetheless that, let's see, November 2016, so US election, you can see that Doge ran first, and it went it went up a crap ton, right? Doge went up 2,000%. XRP at this point went up. Oh, it went up even more. Wait, is that correct? Oh yeah, XRP was like a baby. Okay, so this isn't really a great example then. But yeah, it did happen last cycle. I don't remember like what L1 would have been amazing. I wasn't trading 2 cycles ago. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to assume that, you know, maybe something like this happens again, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They're selling us.
Yeah, it's over, guys. We're nuking.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Altcoin charts that look good.
No.
Just like going through them.
Besides Doge,
Sui doesn't look terrible.
Doge
Have
is
you
the
seen
only one.
Swag and Drip, Tommy? They look good.
I think the best thing anybody can do is just go book a tea time for today and tomorrow and just wait for the election to be over, honestly.
But it probably won't even be over tomorrow. Like,
dude, I hope it's over tomorrow.
Oh, it'll be over. It'll be over by 10 p.m., Tommy. Trump clean dub. We go higher. It'll be over by like 3 a.m. probably tomorrow night, I bet.
Are you staying up?
Absolutely.
I'll probably stay up.
Yeah, I'm staying up. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The price action is going to be Asia's
I'm
gonna
not
be-
trading. I'm
I'm-
not trading.
I don't even want to look at the price.
Tommy will be scalping the election results at 3
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah.
There might be some really nice like Polymarket dislocations in the next 2 days that I could be playing, but people taking profit before the election, and maybe there's some opportunity as you get some late repricings.
Dude, everyone is in shambles in the comments. Bitcoin is down 1.56%. You guys need to get a grip. All right. You guys need to get a grip.
I mean, you have to like, okay, just think about it. Think about it as simply as you possibly can. Why would anybody, any sane individual, start bidding risk going into the election? Why would you not wait until right after? There's no bid right now. There is a much greater incentive to hedge or risk off going into the election than there is to start shoving money into shit coins right before the election. Think about it. Why would you expect there to be any sort of bid today?
Yeah.
It's like it just goes back to the whole what do you expect to get bid when there's so much uncertainty in the markets, right? Even if you're confident in an outcome, it's pretty clearly a mostly binary event tomorrow. And altcoins very much crave certainty, not just on the part of on Bitcoin going higher, but also on the news cycle, so that they know, like, I mean, look, like, think about something like PopCat. I made this joke to Tucker and Max yesterday. Like, there's nothing that reminds me how little some altcoins are backed by than just looking at the PopCat chart. Like, they're so momentum driven that like a gust of wind is going to start pushing altcoins in either direction. So if there's any uncertainty, they're going to struggle to move. But Bitcoin, not just doesn't have to worry about that effect, but also is right by range highs. How many assets in crypto outside of like Bitcoin and Doge can you point to that are trading right near their range highs, even despite the pullback that we've had over the last like 3 or 4 days? There aren't many.
Equities are pulling back too today.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are just de-risking into the election. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it
What's
is.
what's MSTR and Coin doing? I'm assuming Coin looks like shit. I'm assuming that MSTR is selling off hard.
Coin like erased its whole breakout. Like Bitcoin.
Yeah, coin MSTR looks
The
fine.
whole thing, but
Coin doesn't look horrible, but it looks like it needs a Trump victory, Loki.
A lot. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these altcoin charts and even coin and others need that. What about like miners look? Oh,
It just looks like Coin, bro. It looks exactly
Coin
like Coin.
looks not great.
Uh,
I think in either scenario, Robinhood remains the better bet than Coinbase going forward. Unless, like, I mean, I don't really know what would change that unless Coinbase starts listing coins that Robinhood can't.
they won't.
I don't think they will.
Well, what if
well-
Gary's not in office?
Yeah, I was about to say, if you get a Trump win, you get Gary gone. I don't know. They could probably just list whatever they want.
Can we get things other than DGen on Coinbase? That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
that actually looks good though. I like the way it looks.
What, DGen or Robinhood?
DGen. I also saw today, I know it's EU, but Robinhood EU has added like I think deposits and withdrawal of Pepe. So that could be a sign as well. I know a long time ago they listed it, but now you can deposit, withdraw, stuff like that. So that could be a telling sign that they're experimenting, in the European land on Robinhood before they list in the US.
Yeah, but they did that like a year ago. They
Yeah.
listed Pepe so long ago.
Yeah.
DGen reminds me of Doge back in like March and April, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my eye on it for sure.
Yeah, these guys. I'm not gonna be Will. Will's outlook.
The audience attack or
Yeah, it's not gonna be me.
how's the like button doing today, guys? We haven't even. I don't
even care what it's at. We're just gonna pull up soybeans regardless. 'Cause they
Guys, do us a solid. Take one moment out of your busy market check enjoying schedule and hit that like button, guys. It really helps the channel. It really, really does wonders for the channel. So if you guys can do us a solid, hit that thumbs up button, guys. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Again, we are live here every single day, Monday through Friday, talking about markets, as most of you guys know. But do us a solid. Just hit that thumbs up button. The mega cap tech overlords determined a long time ago, arbitrarily in a boardroom, hey, if somebody wants to grow their channel, they must get likes on their video. And I hate that that's the world that we live in, but it's the world that we live in. So do us a solid, help us grow. We love you guys. Hit that thumbs up button. All right, help support the channel.
All right, what are we at?
251. I mean, it ain't bad.
Yeah, not horrible.
It's been
Price-
better, but you know,
It's weak for a big week. I will say that.
it's weak for a big week, you know.
I-
But they're
I feel
tired,
like
man. Everybody's tired.
They're tired, but like, so are we. So are we.
Tired.
Tired.
Yeah.
So are we. I remember people used to get way more excited for FOMCs back in the day. I remember. I'm sure people in chat remember, but I'm sure tomorrow will just be like absolutely chaotic. But I'm kind of ready to embrace that chaos a little bit.
Yeah. Man, ETH BTC is just getting pummeled, Tommy.
Is it?
Pummeled.
Is it? What's it at?
Pummeled.
Jesus.
Pummeled.
It's just
Dev pulled the liquidity.
Goodness
It's-
gracious. Dude, no, doesn't that what chart did that look like? Was it ETH where it was like dev pulled liquidity? I can't remember. It was some chart we looked at the other day.
Oh.
What was it?
Was this last week? I kind of remember this.
Yes, dude. It was like this, and then
Maybe not quite like that, but
what was it, dude?
I don't remember.
It was something legitimate. It was hilarious.
Did you guys see the Vista chart, by the way?
Ether Vista.
Like, we completely missed the strongest coin in the market last week.
Dear God.
I'd never even heard of this.
I thought it was a scam and I wrote it off, and then I guess they scam pumped it, but I missed the trade. It's a clean like 7x.
Yeah.
Ether Vista, baby.
What is it?
Probably some ETH Foundation scam. I'm
I've
sick of
never
them
heard of
dumping on everybody. No one talks about that enough, how the ETH Foundation just dumps at every local high since basically the yearly high.
You know what devs will not dump on you?
What?
Bitcoin.
Unless Satoshi Nakamoto comes back.
Wait, do we think
That
this
would be
is
bad.
do we think this is copy pasta or no?
Nah, I think it's copy pasta.
I don't know, bro.
That's
That sounds like the I am completely out of the cryptocurrency market copy pasta.
Are you guys ready for the banana zone?
Don't talk about the fucking banana.
Oh my god.
Drinks with Raul. He's like, I watched the Drinks with Raul the other day. He's like, don't talk about the fucking banana.
No way.
It's like, okay.
Dude. Yeah, everybody's gonna lose their shit today and tomorrow. It's gonna be wild.
I mean, as it should be, right?
My only advice is probably avoid Twitter. Probably avoid Twitter today.
How much money is that?
I don't know.
So this is the Ben Cohen approach, basically saying that ETH went down 70% both times last cycle pre-election, I'm pretty sure. So people want 1,300 and then just a V recovery to bull market, which totally makes sense. Tommy?
I mean, I see the argument for it. Like if you look at charts cyclically, I'm talking about like DeFi charts. I mean, Tucker, you know that link fractal I've been talking about for ages.
Yeah.
I think, you know, there's some historical confluence for like another pullback on ETH, but I think if you're going to get it, it literally has to happen like now. Because if it doesn't happen now, given the context of Bitcoin dominance, like ETH is going to be dragged up and there's not really anything else to be said about it. ETH Bitcoin will still break down, but it will be because Bitcoin USD and likely meme coin USD are ripping higher. There is like, you know, I mean, I'm sure some confluence that ETH can pull back. I don't know if it'll be a V recovery though, right? Like I think that's very much, it just depends on, I think the positioning in DeFi, because obviously there's a lot of funny business in DeFi, especially now. But as a whole, I mean, I think it really comes down to Bitcoin. You know, if you think that Bitcoin is going higher here, ETH is going to be dragged up. And if you think that Bitcoin can continue at the very least like a rotational environment, you know, that we've been in for the last 7 or 8 months, then ETH will go lower and it will probably trade near like $1,200 in that vicinity. If, you know, that's just kind of like, I feel like that's kind of basic, right? Just given the look of the ETH structure versus the Bitcoin one, they're polar opposites. But it's really now or never. I think if you have a decisive victory on Tuesday for Donald Trump, you are not going to get any more downside on ETH. And if that is the case, your window for downside is into Tuesday because of election probabilities currently favoring Kamala. Well, they're actually not yet, but they might reprice. I think they will reprice.
Here's Bitcoin up top with ETH down below. Just kind of discussing where we're potentially at cyclically. Bitcoin's really doing what Bitcoin always does at this phase, right? Which is it moves up, you know, from bear market bottom into the election. Just like this. It's choppy, but you move up hard into the election. Bear market bottom, you move up into the election, it's choppy, right? And then you get about a year of froth after that. So yeah, I mean, in 2016, you saw ETH after the election put in like one final, you know, pukeroni pizza down there, but in 2020 you didn't, you know. So maybe it's one of those situations where like it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, look, ETH was under $50 when this happened, so kind of hard to compare where we're at now to. And there was zero infrastructure around ETH at this point. I mean, it was literally nothing, all speculation. So I think really what you need to look at is you say, all right, well, you know, you're talking about ETH after the election dipping a little bit like it did here when it was under $50. But when did ETH really start to outperform? Well, when Bitcoin, you know, really pushed up into the all-time high, which was, just put this in green. Like when Bitcoin really pushed up into that all-time high region, you know, ETH was bottomed, right? And then same thing over here. When Bitcoin goes into price discovery, ETH is bottomed, right? Like you really don't get a regime where Bitcoin's in price discovery and ETH doesn't get dragged up kicking and screaming. So like what Tommy said, just to echo it, like if you think that Bitcoin is going into price discovery, you're not going to have an 80K Bitcoin with an $1,800 ETH. It's not going to happen, right? But if you got a 60K Bitcoin, you could see it's sub 2K ETH, right? So it's just all you're trading is Bitcoin, right? Ignore the ETH BTC pair for now. Bitcoin higher, ETH higher. Bitcoin lower, ETH lower. It's really simple.
Also, to add, if you're going to say ETH had X amount correction, this percentage amount, it should have that exact percentage drop again. I would say that's probably the incorrect way to look at it, because with diminishing returns, there also comes diminishing drawdowns, right? So if you look at Bitcoin from 2017 top to the 2017 low, if you could measure that for me, Max, what was that drawdown that we saw on Bitcoin?
From which point?
From the 2017 Pico top on Bitcoin to the bear market low, 85%. Right. So this cycle in the bear market, everyone was looking for that exact 85% retracement, but we didn't get it. We got a less retracement. So yes, can we see a pullback on ETH on a percent, but looking for that exact amount of percentage drop, I would think that that's not a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's very obvious.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't try to put an exact percentage on that, because with diminishing returns to the upside also becomes, diminishing drawdowns to the downside as well. So,
yeah, I mean, let's look at the pullback that ETH had here, 2016, 72% from high to low. So, I mean, you have to, let's see what we're down right now. So from the high to the low of that wick was 50. I mean, it'd be hard to imagine a 70% pullback this much further along in Ethereum's history, right? Not that anything's impossible, but to Louis' point of diminishing returns, it's like something has to be fundamentally cooked. If you're going to see ETH at a multi-$100 billion market cap pull back the same amount that it did when it was like, maybe like under 100 million.
yeah.
Something is wrong, right? But again, I really just go back to Bitcoin. Like, you are just trading Bitcoin here, guys. Like, if Bitcoin breaks up, ETH is not going lower. You're not going to have an 80K Bitcoin with an $1,800 ETH. It's not going to happen. You could see ETH BTC go lower, but who cares about that at this point? It's cooked. It's cooked until it's not.
I think ETH Bitcoin is more or less becoming an indicator for VC dominance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's down only.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin meme coin barbell will reign supreme forever.
I'm okay with that. Fortunately, there might be a bag that touches on both of those at the same time. Hashtag my bags.
Yeah.
I just had an alert go off for Caspa. I think we need to
Talking
look
about
at
fine art, right, Tommy?
Of course.
Okay.
Good.
Fine art on the blockchain.
Caspa bros.
Yeah, I feel bad, honestly.
Remember when the YouTube chat screamed at me to buy Caspa at the Pico top?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I remember.
Oof. Oh man. This was the best Jeet I've ever had, boys. I would be so mad right now.
2023 coins, man. You gotta let them go.
I mean, at this point, you're taking out this low, right? You're taking out that low.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, I think you can reverse this, but then you got a lot of work to do above head. You got a lot of supply above head. If Trump doesn't win,
Oh man.
VC coins are not going to perform very well if Trump does not win.
I feel bad for the Caspa bros, man. I was a big Caspa bull until I wasn't. And I just blame Mara. It's Mara's fault, all right? It's Mara's fault.
Literally. Yeah. Literally.
Their Bitcoin mining operation wasn't profitable, and they said, hey, we can mine this new POW coin and just farm it. They're just farming it and nuking it, man.
Less Bitcoin they have to sell.
It could still be doing that thing, though, where you get the 3 drive, the sweep, and then it bottoms. At the very least, you should be giving a bounce after you sweep that low.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely coming into an area where I'd be interested in buying it again.
Me too. Me too. This is why I sold a lot of my Caspa into XRP because of this chart. We were talking about this in the Discord, which again is why you guys need to be in there. But I was looking at Caspa XRP right here. So I was looking at this and I was like, yeah, this is fried, man. Like this thing is going to break down here. And it's just been nuking since this trend line gave out, like so bad, man. So bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty vocal about Casper not looking great either, and we got a lot of hate for it, but it is what it is.
But Louis, haven't you heard that Bitcoin was simply a test net for Caspa?
Dude, that was the most bearish thing for
when you hear stuff like that, you gotta run.
That's the top, dude.
Bro, I'm pretty sure I tweeted that out at like 5 cents.
Yeah, that's the signs you look for.
Yeah.
That was actually an elite top signal, like if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why you don't commit yourself to one cryptocurrency and you make an account based on that, right? Because this is an industry and an asset class where it's volatile enough to the point where you should be diversified amongst at least a handful of tokens, because stuff like this happens. They outperform, and then when they're not outperforming, they're severely underperforming, and you put all your eggs in one basket, and you dedicate yourself to that, you will get burned. And that's definitely something I learned last cycle as well, and I'm sure a bunch of my panelists as well. You learn that the hard way.
I was about to tell a story actually about doing just that. Max and Tucker already know, but there's this ticker long forgotten in the annals of CT. I'm not going to say it, but it was a DeFi shitter in the spring of 2021. And I got into crypto. I became a fanboy account for this coin because I was making so much money on it. And you know what that fanboyism turned into? The fattest round trip of my life. So that's that. The lesson is, if you marry a bag, you will probably achieve, like, your best chance to achieve outside returns will always be marrying a bag. But your fattest round trips will also always be when you married a bag. So just keep that in mind.
Don't marry your bags.
You gotta marry the right one.
I was about to marry Max is like,
I'm in danger.
Look at his picture behind him.
It's different, bro. It's fine. It's different,
bro.
This time is different.
Different. You wouldn't get it. Oh man. All right. Well, that's the show for today. Tommy, you want to take us out, man?
Yes, I can do that. Oh man. Yeah, sorry I wasn't here for the intro, guys. It wasn't my internet, but I guess it kind of was. It was my Google Chrome wasn't updated. But either way, I don't know why that's even a problem. Let's talk about much more exciting topics like the BB terminal, which is, for those who are unfamiliar, a best-in-class product. You can get data syndication, aggregated data. Obviously, for me, I'm an active trader, so I love having all of that derivatives data present while I am actively trading. And of course, if you are a DGen as well, soon to come will be our DGen tab available on the BB terminal. So some of you will probably be, I'm not gonna say what exactly it's going to resemble, but a tool I know every one of you use if you're in the on-chain trenches will probably be replacing it for you. So keep that in mind. And we were nice enough to package, like I said, this best-in-class product with the ability to enter our Discord, both at a discounted rate. You can get them together. And for our Discord, we are not joking when we say that we are on hours and hours of calls with our subscribers every single day, 4 to 5 hours. Like that's true every weekday, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. Sometimes it goes even longer than that. So you are getting our intimate thoughts on the market, our positioning, and as it happens in real time. And on top of that, as Max has pointed out, it's invaluable to be able to have a community of like-minded people in these markets. And Because Bitcoin Discord not only provides you with our thoughts on the market and our analysis, but it also has a kick-ass group of individuals in there that are all working for the same goal. So make sure to check that out. And like I said, we were nice enough to package these two things together so you can get them both technically at a discounted rate. I would definitely recommend taking advantage of this because when prices go higher, and as far as crypto goes, you know what that's going to mean for these things, especially if you've been around here for a while, guys. But of course, if maybe you don't want to be in the Discord, maybe you don't want to use the BB terminal, but maybe you're interested in potentially having the team manage your capital for you. We do have an avenue for you to be able to do that as well. BB Wealth Management, which is an SEC registered hedge fund that focuses primarily on digital assets in a way that looks to capture their asymmetric history for upside returns while also managing the downside risk posed in any financial market, right? A lot of uncertainty this week, but BB Wealth Management, the boys are on the buttons. Fear not. Of course, guys, we also have the BB Academy, which I'm going to use this term again. It's a best in class course. I mean, I don't think you'll be able to find a better one if you scrolled through CT for a week straight, quite frankly. I mean, how often are you going to be able to learn from 5, 6, 7 different chads all telling you how they approach markets, how they trade, how they analyze? And Max was even nice enough to throw, and Louis as well, were even nice enough to throw you guys in or throw in some free courses for you guys to be able to indulge in before seeing the full product. But I would definitely recommend the full paid for course because I mean, there's just so much value in there. And we hear every week from you guys about how much you're learning, how much you're improving your trading. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, that absolutely warms my heart. Lastly, guys, if you enjoyed Market Check today, we will be back for another episode tomorrow as we are live Monday through Friday, our typical start time around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we also have Market Talk, which is our afternoon Twitter Spaces hosted by the Because Bitcoin Twitter account and King Wabi, the legendary King Wabi. He's been absolutely crushing it lately. So make sure to tune in for his show as well. To stay subscribed and following our Because Bitcoin Twitter account so you can be notified when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. But that's it from us, guys. It's a big week, a very big week. So if you're an active trader, maybe you're just sitting on the sidelines and maybe you're not even American, you're just enjoying the view from overseas. It's a big week. There's going to be a lot of volatility in these markets, likely correlated to the events that are occurring here over the next 48 hours and maybe even possibly longer than that. So of course, I'm going to tell you guys, as always, to stay safe, especially now more than ever. But we will see what we get here over the next few days. But until tomorrow, thanks again, as always, and we will see you. We will see you for a very big day tomorrow, won't we? But thanks again, guys.